Nothing.
It's just numbers on a 3 on the right, 6 on the bottom, 9 on the left, and 12 on the top. You only need 90-degree angles.
Nothing.
It's just numbers on 3 on the right. You only need 90-degree angles.
Nothing.
It's just numbers on a clock. 3 on the right, 6 on the bottom, 9 on the left, and 12 on the top. You only need 90-degree angles.
Nothing.
It's just numbers on a clock. 3 on the right. You only need 90-degree angles.
Just gonna rest my brain. It's a big stone dais.
Biggest one I've ever seen. First one, too. Whoa. Nice cape.
You're not fellows or pointers. I'm sure I shall immediately regret asking. But who are you, and what is your business here?
I'm Sally, and this is my sidekick, Grimoire.
A private detective, Grimoire.
Really? You're a detective. If this is a joke, it's not a good one.
Who are you, anyway?
Private Detective Hawkshaw.
Oh, nice. Hawkshaw's a cooler name than Grimoire. Maybe I'll become her sidekick.
You're not on the Freya Fellow case, too, are you?
That is classified information between myself and my client. Clearly, this is something which eludes you. But a real detective refrains from handing out informations to persons unknown.
Oh, right.
Now, if you would, I have work to do. It's not in my interest to discuss personal details.
Even if you're one of the suspects in a murder?
Very well. Let us make a small exception. Ask.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I'm on a case at the behest of my client.
How long have you been at Tangle Tower?
133 hours. 5.5 days.
Who are you working for?
I am not at liberty to answer that. Now, I shall permit you one more question.
What crime are you—
How'd you get that scar? It's cool.
You really think so? As it happens, I completed an examination of Flora's room on the morning before the murder. I've been investigating every single room at Tangle Tower. Hers was one of the last on my list.
Did you find anything unusual?
Nothing but a thin layer of dust and an atmosphere of somber melancholy.
Was Flora in there at the time?
She spent the duration of my search staring up at the sky, out the open window. Didn't say a word, although I'm told this is the expected behavior.
What did you do after that?
I spent the early evening searching the library. It took longer than it should have. Fiona leaves that room in a permanent state of disarray.
Fiona was in the library too?
I expected her to make an appearance, but she did not.
And you stayed in the library the rest of the day?
Not quite. Towards the early evening, my examination of the library was unexpectedly disrupted. Sounds of running, wailing, shouting from several floors above. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared. He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the Fellow staircase. Our eyes met. He was breathless. Something had caused him great alarm. He told me to stay out of the way. I consented. I decided to return to my office in the stone square. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. She was clutching the banister of the Pointer staircase with an apprehensive manner. She wished to know where Professor Pointer had gone. I told her what had transpired. Then, she too crossed the hall and disappeared up the Fellow staircase. More so than at any moment prior, I felt like quite an intruder in the house. I took my leave, out towards the stone square. The grounds were silent. There were no signs of human life. Even the greenhouse was without its typical inhabitant. I noted that he, too, must be entangled in whatever was transpiring in Fellow Tower. An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance. He spoke to me of what had occurred. His report was as clumsy and cumbersome as the man giving it.
Did he seem upset?
He was rattled. That much was clear. But sorrowful? Mournful? I cannot say. Professor Pointer is a respectable astronomer. Keeps himself to himself. What?
We're just surprised.
That was the most polite you've been about anyone.
314 cases solved.
314?
Quite the stoic statue, isn't she? I can only dream of being as cold and indifferent as Freya Fellow.
You think she's hiding something?
Perhaps. She has some strange habits. I heard she barely sleeps, an hour here or there, sporadically. Spends the rest of her time staring up at the sky. Did you get anything useful out of him?
Not sure. What about you?
Nothing worth committing to paper.
I think he knows more than he lets on.
Probably. But talking with him is so tedious. Freya Fellow is of great interest to me. I perceived her to be the most intelligent individual here at Tangle Tower. Within a day, she had identified for whom I was working and for what I was searching. I didn't know how she did it. I was impressed. I regret that I did not question her more thoroughly when I had the opportunity.
You couldn't have known she was about to be killed, though.
I have only myself to blame for failing to perceive the signs.
What signs?
I do not wish to do your job for you, detective. Considerably intelligent, and her powers of observation are enviable, but she has no ambition, no focus.
In her defense, she's still a teenager.
Barely. A diary. Have you read it?
Not yet. It's locked.
And you haven't attempted to force it open?
That would be cheating.
A book from the library. One of hundreds, no doubt. What makes this one special?
It's about birds.
Yes, I see that.
When did Freya draw the picture of you, Hawkshaw?
I didn't model for her, if that's what you're asking. She must have done it without my permission.
Could just be from memory. It's not quite as detailed as the others anyway.
I'd tell him not to quit his day job. But he hasn't got one, has he? I admit, it's powerful. Freya was a talented young woman.
Someone even liked it enough to take a photo of it.
Now, we don't know why they took the photograph, do we? Perhaps they just wanted it for reference. You got it open. I'm impressed. I managed it myself yesterday. I thought Flora might be hiding something in there.
It was empty yesterday, too.
It was. Perhaps it's always been empty. Paints?
Yep.
Paints.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was in Flora's room yesterday, but it was not cracked when I saw it last. A somewhat cumbersome device, and an altogether inefficient way to listen to music.
What kind of music do you like, Hawkshaw?
I like anything.
What a cop-out.
The paint is still wet.
Yeah, well, we know Freya was in the middle of painting when she was killed.
Do you know that? How? Because you were told? Makes quite an impression, doesn't it? Although I can't imagine why she painted Flora wielding a knife.
You didn't see a knife anywhere in Flora's room, did you?
I did not. I conclude whatever stabbed Freya must have been brought into the room from outside. Unless, of course, it was the painting itself.
Surely you don't believe in that kind of thing.
A detective's job is to examine every avenue of thinking. Where'd you dig that up?
It wasn't buried. It was underwater.
Someone trying to conceal evidence, perhaps? Conveniently left anonymous. It's useless until you can prove to whom it concerns. Can you do that?
No?
No. Have you deciphered the meaning of those 4 symbols on the harp?
We're working on it.
That's a no, then. You truly consider this a case file?
What's wrong with it?
No organization, no system.
That's my style. I like seeing everything laid out at once. Yeah, it helps me think.
How quaint. Tangle Tower. No idea why they insist on calling it that. It's not even a tower. It's little more than a pair of turrets stuck on either side of a mansion.
Have you searched the whole place?
I believe so. Why?
He wants to know if you found any secret rooms.
Ha! I'm afraid the residents of Tangle Tower are far too ordinary for anything like that. I was disappointed too.
Is that a clock?
If it is, it's a clock with 4 feet.
Nope.
So moving it's like cogs on a machine.
I guess that's wrong.
Did you work out what direction each one ends with a little hoop?
I got it.
I'm impressed. What's in the box?
A little tool thing? Looks like a telescope. But I'm not actually sure what it is. This belongs to you, Hawkshaw?
Correct.
And, what is it?
It's my handheld microscope for up-close investigation work.
What do you magnify with it?
Trace particles, dust, oils, clothing fibers.
Have you used it here at Tangle Tower?
I have. I used it to examine the greenhouse only 2 days ago.
What were you looking for?
That is between myself and my client.
A little chart of, Actually, I have no idea what it's about. Kinda reminds me of a periodic table. Kinda reminds me of a periodic table.
What do you make of it?
Not a whole lot. Tools. Used by a gardener. For gardening. That's a handsome beetle. Looks like he might have magic powers. Tools. Used by a gardener. For gardening.
This one's in a little pot.
Okay, that is definitely not edible.
It looks like a gemstone, don't you think? Is that fruit? It's shaped like fruit.
Too shiny to be fruit. I think it's glowing a little too.
Safe to eat, do you think?
I'm gonna say no. Bit of a decadent flooring choice for a greenhouse.
Sally, don't move. We're being watched.
Yeah, I see him. He's a little too big to hide in the bushes. Is anyone going to say anything? Or shall we just stand around staring at each other?
Right, sorry.
Sorry.
That's better. I'm Sally. And the guy hiding behind me is Detective Grimoire. Who are you?
Fellow, the gardener.
Mm-hmm. And why are you so tall?
I don't know.
You work here as the gardener.
I don't get paid to do it. It's just my area of interest.
What's the deal with the plants? They're all kinda weird.
Right. Did you see the lake?
That giant green and purple lake surrounding the entire house? Yeah, I clocked it.
The color is just a byproduct.
Of what? Poison?
It's not poisonous. Not to you.
What's this got to do with the plants?
The water controls all life, just like anywhere else on the planet. Clouds form, rain falls. The water grows the plants, animals eat the plants. Anything you've perceived as an irregularity is simply a result of this hydrological cycle.
Could you say that again, but like, condense it as if you were talking to a slightly stupid person?
Our lake water causes the unpredictable alteration of DNA, sometimes.
Alteration? Like mutation?
That'd be the official term. For us, it's normal. Just nature.
And you're the local expert on all this stuff?
No. I'm just the gardener. I was in my greenhouse, watering and weeding.
Sounds exciting.
Was anyone else around?
Not at first. Penelope came in a little later. She likes looking at the flowers, I think.
Did you speak to each other?
A little, not too much. We both left the greenhouse in the early afternoon. I went up to my room. Then I came back outside to weed the main gardens. Didn't see anyone else. After that, I went up to the garden outside my room.
And?
Let me guess. Watering and weeding.
Right.
Did anything happen to you yesterday, Fitz?
I was up in the rooftop garden. It was quiet. And then, it wasn't. I can't describe it. Could have been a scream, but it didn't sound human. We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
We?
Poppy was with me. Did I not mention that? Flora's room was locked. That's normal. She usually locks it from the inside. I knocked on the door and shouted. Nobody responded. We became concerned.
You kicked the door down?
I did. Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back. Flora was there too, but I barely noticed her at first. Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too. Penelope arrived shortly after that, with Felix in tow. I thought that was odd. You don't normally see the two of them together. Felix took charge. There was nothing else I could do to help. I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything. I found her pacing back and forth around the stone square. When I approached her, she snapped at me. I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
I imagine you don't visit the astronomy tower too often, do you?
No, but I still see Pointer, sometimes. He's always curious about what I'm growing in the greenhouse. Asks me about the birds, too, and insects. He's pretty clued up on his evolutionary biology.
I didn't think there was much overlap between astronomy and biology.
She questioned me.
About what?
My work, the plants, bit of everything.
Did she search the greenhouse?
No, she didn't.
You sure? Maybe she did it when you weren't in there.
No, she hasn't touched it.
How can you tell?
Trust me, I can tell. I like Flora. I hope she's all right.
Do you think she had anything to do with the murder?
There's no way. She wouldn't willingly cause any additional suffering for anyone. Felix is a contradiction. His loyalties are placed firmly within the realm of materialism, money, property. But his ego relies on an entirely fraudulent self-image, don't you think?
I was just about to say the same thing.
She was always kind to me. She'd come into the greenhouse when I was working, sometimes by herself, sometimes with Poppy. I think they were just bored at first. Eventually, they started asking questions.
About what?
Poppy wanted to learn about flowers. Freya, she used to ask me about the insects.
Insects?
One of my jobs is to protect plants from things that might eat them. Freya brought me this little glass box, leaves and twigs inside. She'd say, put all the troublemakers in there. Every day I'd put a handful of beetles and other things in the box. Then she'd come along and take it away. I didn't really understand her, but she was always kind. Fifi doesn't like me.
What did you do?
I'm not sure. If you find out, maybe you can let me know.
Have you met this guy, Fitz? Shifty eyes, doesn't say a lot. Totally suspicious, if you ask me.
That's me.
Yeah, it was a joke. I was joking.
Oh, I see. This is a good example of how things work. I mix that soil here in the greenhouse. It's made with water from the lake.
And it makes the fruit grow all shiny and gem-stony?
Sometimes. You never really know what's going to happen.
And what do you do with this shiny and edible fruit?
You look at it.
You ever seen this before, Fitz?
No, but I don't normally go into Fifi's room.
That's not where we found it.
Oh, I just thought it looks like it belongs to her. That looks like it might belong to Poppy. Paints are different to flowers.
I'd say so, yeah.
At any time, flowers can bloom with perfect, faultless colors. Red, blue, white. With paint, once you've tainted a color by mixing it with others, not even the most skilled painter can return it to its pure form. It's an egg with feet.
It was locked, but we opened it, but it was empty.
Fun story. Felix made that? Huh. Freya's best work, in my opinion. Although, the photo doesn't carry the same energy as the real thing.
What do you think it's a painting of?
What do you mean?
Like, what's the subject matter? What's that big red thing?
Oh, I don't think it's that kind of painting.
Fitz, one of these drawings is of you, in the rooftop garden, I think, with Poppy.
Mm-hmm. Are we done? Penelope knows about birds. You should ask her instead.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about something. There's a plant mentioned on this page, see? Do you have any? In the greenhouse?
No, I don't grow that anymore. I've tried, in the past. It's incredibly difficult, even for me. I could never get it to live more than a couple of weeks. Looks like someone doesn't want you to read that book.
That's the main thing making me want to read it.
That belongs to Poppy.
So why is it up in Flora's tower?
I'm not sure. There's something off about this.
What is it?
Why don't you take another look at Flora's room?
You think we missed a clue up there?
Not exactly.
What do you think that is in Flora's hand?
I don't know. It does look like a knife, but Flora wasn't holding anything at all when I saw her after the murder. But there's something bothering me. Something else.
What?
When we went into Flora's room, she wasn't standing in this position.
Well, she probably would have moved around a little bit by then.
She wasn't standing at all. She was kneeling on the floor. How odd. That looks like it might belong to Poppy. It's of no interest to me, but I overheard Poppy and Freya talking about it once.
What were they saying?
They were arguing about something, but I can't remember the details. Who gave you that information?
Well...
We don't actually know who it was. We were contacted anonymously.
I see. And what happens if the person who contacted you turns out to be the murderer?
I never thought about that.
Honestly, that would be kind of fun. Like a twist, you know?
Nice painting. Gives you a pretty good idea of the layout.
The lake looks like it forms a perfect circle around the island.
It might seem strange to you, but nature is quite capable of producing perfectly geometric forms.
And those mountain cliff things around the outside?
We don't know much about them. They're unscalable. Not even Freya could have gone up there.
What's that?
This painting, it's speculative. There are no photographs from this angle as far as I know.
So Freya just made it up.
Let's call it an informed estimation.
Fitz's room is unlocked. It's up in the Fellow Tower.
This could be interesting. Oh, wow.
What?
It's a big empty space. An empty glass and an empty plate.
Looking at it is making me want to cry.
Why?
I don't know.
It's a little handmade card. Someone's drawn a heart on the front. Inside it says, "To Fitz, from PP."
That poor plant.
Looks pretty healthy to me.
Healthy, but sad. I think it would rather be outside.
Doesn't look soft. There's someone outside the window.
Something outside the window. It's probably just a rock.
You sure? It's locked, but it leads outside.
I thought we were halfway up a tower.
We are.
What's that thing by the handle?
Nothing. Still locked.
The tiles have all got that same sun symbol on them.
Those moon symbols in the slots. Are they...
Maybe they're connected, but also not connected.
Nope. It's not budging.
Maybe the information we need isn't here.
So where is it?
Somewhere else. Let's come back once we know what to do.